It has been a big topic for years in Georgia's capital. Now sports betting is back on the clock as the legislative session ticks down. Atlanta News First reporter Abby Casores breaks down where the bills are now and the odds on whether this gets passed.
Right now, the sports betting bills are stuck in the Higher Education Committee. Last-minute substitutes added here today to sports fans and the bill's sponsors.
But I do feel like, with the governor's office and the support in both chambers, this definitely is the year.
Senator Clint Dixon started out with high hopes for his bill, but the Higher Education Committee casting a shadow of doubt, changing his bill, Senate Bill 386, that would regulate and tax sports betting under the Georgia Lottery. It's a package deal, states Senator Bill Cowsard's resolution, which gives voters the chance to decide by passing a constitutional amendment allowing sports betting.
I do concur with what this amendment would do. I don't agree or support it.
Cowsard's resolution includes a breakdown how the approximate $100 million generated would be spent. He suggests that the majority go to fund pre-K programs, the rest helping people with a gambling addiction and recruiting major sporting events. The committee changing both bills.
We'll just go through all the changes.
Representative Marcus Wiedauer says concerns and commentary have led the committee to add substitutes, including penalties for Georgia betting outside of the state and increasing the taxable dollars from 20 to 25%. Cowsard not getting to see the substitute added.
Oh my goodness! We were supposed to get to you. Can we get a copy?
The General Assembly running out of time. The Education Committee will meet again on Wednesday. If those bills don't pass, hope is lost this session. Lawmakers have until Friday at midnight to pass the bills. We plan on long hours going into Thursday night as the Senate and House continue to debate and pass bills. In Atlanta, I'm Abby Casores.